We're just moments away from the opening tip to the 2020-2021 season. Jusuf Nurkic gets the tip. Let's hit start on this season. Mike Conley coming over to the Jazz last season from Memphis. Really picked it up the last 19 games. Nurkic, backdoor cut to CJ. Great way to start the season.
Was throwing that ball over the top to a lob to the guy who had the most dunks in the league last season in Gobert. That time the Blazers show a zone look, and Mike Conley.
14 points, 3.5 assists in the preseason. CJ with O'Neal defending, tries an early three, and CJ with 5 quick points.
That's good. It's going to be personnel driven sometimes too, how the Blazers determine what type of defense they're going to show on those ball screens. Although it was only a few games, he took more attempts at 3 attempts a game, not including that 4th game that he got hurt in and had to leave the game. Oh, easy does it.
Nurk with the early hammer. Bogdanovich brings it down. Covington tries to pick up in transition, strips him. Covington off to the races. CJ on the wing, spots up in the corner, and CJ splashes it. Conley working against Nurkic, tries to get into the body. Gobert is there to clean it up.
But then nobody is there big enough to block out Gobert, who Nurk was guarding.
Dame cross-court pass. Derrick Jones Jr. pipes in another 3. For more on the shooting of Derrick Jones Jr., here's Brooke.
Well, guys, recently Coach Stotts talked about encouraging him to shoot more threes. He said, well, you know how we are here.
Great look again from Nurk.
Clarkson, corner 3, rolls in.
You talk about insta buckets.
Cantor, such a knack for the basketball. Derrick Jones Jr. tries to dislodge it. Mitchell, open 3. With the board.
Well, the fact that a mellow pump fake to Derrick Jones Jr. got the defense to bite and react is a positive sign for the Blazers.
Ingles up top. Hood defends. Favors will try to set the screen. Ingles pull up 3. That's dialed in. That's with Bogdanovich, Gobert, Conley, Ingles, and Clarkson. Gary Trent Jr. trying to bother Clarkson. Clarkson, his floater, rattles in.
He's the second leading bench scorer to only Lou Williams. He is a professional scorer off the bench.
Cantor using the body against Gobert. CJ, thoughts of challenging Gobert? Bounce pass to Gary Trent Jr. with the finger roll.
Great cut from Gary. CJ getting down there deep, even as he sprints into screens.
Ingles to Bogdanovich from the corner. Bogdanovich hits the 8th three-pointer of the game for the Jazz.
Not much has changed for the Jazz. Their core group is all back. They already know how they want to play on both ends of the floor. The Blazers are the ones figuring it out.
Conley to Gobert. Gobert wants to challenge Cantor. Gobert can't snake that one in. Steals the rebound from Melo. And follows it up. Blazers with Covington, CJ, Anthony, Gary Trent Jr. and Cantor. 12 to shoot. Ingles thought about it. Pulls the trigger. And is successful.
And Nurk in good defensive positioning at the time of the release. Mitchell just athletic enough and skilled enough to get that ball over the top of him.
Bogdanovich from Mitchell rains in another 3.
Trying to figure out, well, who was supposed to go there and who was supposed to do this. And that's going to be part of some of the growing pains.
Covington finds Nurkic, who slams it on Favors. Dame working against Mitchell. Covington back over to Nurkic.
Look how Donovan Mitchell's playing Dame. So Nurk unloads the 3. That was a smart play from Joe Ingles. He's seen Nurk make that pass from the top of the key in enough times. He read it. And once again, Donovan Mitchell feeling out what's going on. Unless it's like a situation like the bubble and you're playing playoff type games. CJ gets 2 from the mid-range.
And still looking for his first bucket.
That was a great look. Gobert dropped. Dame able to run into a shot.
Mitchell brings it down. Mitchell harassed by Nurkic. Gobert is there to finish it with the flush. To Nurkic. Dame with 12 to shoot. Goes into Gobert. Layup is good. The 5th Jazz player in double figures. Nurkic rolls over. 24-22 paint advantage. Mitchell looking for Gobert. Gobert reaches back, corrals the lob.
46% of his made baskets last season were dunks. So Dame will continue to realize that about him. But in the meantime, slicing and dicing for the two. You're down big right after a missed basket. There's no extra energy that comes after you make a shot, and you really got to dig deep. And that's going to be the challenge for the Blazers.
Back to Bogdanovich, we were saying one of the most underrated number threes as far as third options in the league. Gobert able to sneak past Nurkic, gets the bucket and the foul.
Because as sometimes you do need to point the fingers in practice and film session and figure out whose fault is it. Why did Gobert get that dunk? And those are things you need to talk about.
Dame sees two defenders. Jones Jr. from the corner rolls in another three.
Does it? But you don't get the two, and those kind of plays can be deflating when you're trying to make a comeback.
Dame nice through the lane for the lay-in. Melo, nice feed, tries to finish. Tough bucket through Favors. A lot of contact. Favors with the putback, and for Utah, they made those changes to bolster their offense. And during that 13-11 run, as Dame wants a deep three, and there we go. Utah just 24th in offensive efficiency, so those changes were paying off during that 31-17 stretch. Third in the league as Favors with another bucket. Gary Trent Jr. trying to face guard Ingles. Ingles flips it over to Favors. Favors with 6 straight points for Utah. Rodney Hood checks back in for the Blazers. Melo, baseline jumper. Pat.
Sweet fader.
Melo with 7 points. Hood defending Ingles. Cantor retreats. Gobert, easy finish.
It is that happened where the breakdown was, and then you got to attack that stuff. It's really got to become a priority as Mike Conley knocks down a three.
Blazers with CJ, Carmelo Anthony, Gary Trent Jr., Enes Cantor, and Rodney Hood. Baseline jumper from Melo. Count it. So Melo double figures.
And that's the production you need from him if you switch things up to go to him, because Melo can be very good in isolation, as we've seen as Clarkson with him.
Clarkson flips it to Gobert. Conley in the corner. He'll size up a three. And makes the Blazers pay. Short corner, 6 to shoot. Cantor goes back in time with the hook shot.
Oh, went through the contact too. Oh man, I got some catching up to do.
Gary Trent Jr. Oh, botches the lay-in, unfortunately. Blazers fight for the loose ball. CJ there to clean it up.
Guys, that is what they are striving for.
Thank you for that, Brooke. Here, Clarkson.
Off the Jazz, starting to miss more frequently from outside. Rodney Hood races it down against his former team, Gary Trent Jr. Bang, bang. Ingles trying to work it against Melo. 10 to shoot for Utah. Melo trying to stay in front of Ingles.
Go Ingles in the basket.
That's insane. But even, his first couple of years. Not smaller.
Ingles flips it in. 5 straight points for Ingles. Does good for the Jazz. Mitchell tries to tee up a three. Donovan Mitchell. Stop the game, clean up the floor. Melo wants to go against Bogdanovich. Melo with the quick spin.
He's getting some work done on that side of the floor. That's the stuff I'm talking about.
Giles with the splat. Oni will try the three from outside. Rattles it home.
First of many.
And Nuggets for Rip City on that as well. That'll do it. Utah gets the 120-100 victory.